Il ne faut pas avoir peur.
We're happy to have you here. So you gave a very forceful speech at the United Nations. You said that Vladimir Putin has made Russia more and more isolated because of his commitment to a war that you said was illegal and illegitimate. Why do you think he's doing this, and can he be talked out of it?
Look, it's hard to me to give an explanation. I think this is not the most rational decision, for sure. When he decided to launch this war, the 24th of February, I think he made a first mistake, a huge one. And he decided to put Russia in a situation, indeed, to be the new imperial country and to launch a colonial war. Now, it's clear for everybody that the leader who decided to go to war, the leader who decided to escalate, is President Putin. And I have no rational explanation. I think this is a series of resentment. This is a strategy of hegemony in the region. And I would say this is a post-COVID-19 consequence. Isolation.
Because he's been so isolated?
I think so. I think in his own logic, I'm not saying this is an explanation or I don't give any excuse, but we have to take into consideration that there is a lot of resentment on the Russian side. He has a feeling that post-1990s, we didn't respect him properly. I think it's not a reason to do what he did. But as I told you, post-COVID-19, there was a totally new situation. So he had a window of opportunity, and he decided to completely break the linearity of this situation and go to the war.
Do you think the countless hours that you have spent reaching out to him, talking to him, do you think that has been helpful or will be helpful?
We will know that at the end of the day. I'm sure that during years and years, especially with Chancellor Merkel, we spent a lot of time in what we call the Normandy format to speak with President Poroshenko and afterwards President Zelensky, President Putin, and both of us. Because we were convinced with Chancellor Merkel that spending all this time to try to implement the Minsk agreement signed in 2014 was the best way to avoid an escalation.
Je veux rappeler aussi que depuis 2014 et le début de ce conflit militairement, la France a été le premier fournisseur d'armes en direction des Ukrainiens. Donc il y a une mobilisation absolue et évidemment nous allons la poursuivre.
I want to insist on that. Mm-hmm. We have to help Ukraine to be free and to get the full control of its territory.
Does that include Crimea?
It will be Ukraine to decide that. The Ukrainians and the Russians will have to go at the table to negotiate.
You have said that China and India and some other countries are siding with this Russian imperialism through their complicity by not standing against Russia's aggression of Ukraine. Are you seeing any indication that China, India, some of these countries in the African world, some of these countries in the Middle East, are seeing your argument, are hearing President Biden's argument that the world has to align with democracy and republics and against authoritarian governments? Is there any hope?
C'est l'espoir qui va avec M. Macron, qu'il est le bon guide de nous amener dans ce monde nouveau.
I do believe there is hope.
Vous êtes dans le parti des démocraties libérales. Elles ont gagné contre les nazis, elles ont gagné contre les communistes. Est-ce qu'elles gagneront forcément?
J'en suis sûr parce que nous avons des vraies valeurs à défendre. C'est la liberté personnelle, ce sont les droits de l'homme, c'est laïcité, etc.
I think we have to avoid lecturing people and saying we are on the good side of the story.
Il faut se reconnaître sur ces valeurs et je crois là il y a aussi de force de survivre parce qu'on a la meilleure côté de l'histoire.
If we have a lot of respect, we try to understand where they stand, what they do believe in, and what their feelings are, we can convince them.
Continuez à œuvrer pour bâtir ce nouvel ordre international, multilatéral, qui dans les années qui viennent devra être repensé.
During the past few months, you had a Russian narrative, and they wanted to create a situation, the West versus the rest. This is a big danger. This divide is a big danger. These guys are different from us. But all together, we can work because what is at stake is global order.
Now is a time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there, and we've got to lead it.
Peace, climate change, food security, all these things could be fixed if we have cooperation between the US, Europe, China, India, Asia and Pacific, Africa and Latin.
We need collaborative efforts for global cooperation.
President Biden said at the UN that Russia isn't just attacking Ukraine. Russia is attacking the United Nations Charter.
Yeah, I think
You can understand why people are skeptical of the UN, though, when you have Russia on the Security Council.
But for sure, we are in favor of a reform of the Security Council to especially have a better representativity of the African continent and some emerging countries. But I do believe that our responsibility is to make this international order functioning. But we have to preserve our values and the Charter. Everybody is at stake because we are speaking about respect of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And it's exactly why we built this Charter post-World War II and after the colonization era. And I think defending this principle is not just defending Ukraine, it's defending all the countries and the possibility of peace in this world.
Your ally, the United States ally, Germany, has been criticized a lot because of its dependence on fuel from Russia.
What Europe has to adapt to, we have to shift from a model where we thought cooperating with everybody was the best way to prevent war, to a world where you have to build more autonomy and independence on some issues.
Yeah.
So this is why I'm a strong believer of this European sovereignty.
Nous sommes à un moment de vérité qui consiste à savoir si l'Union européenne est un projet politique ou un projet de marché uniquement. Moi, je pense que c'est un projet politique.
In technology, in energy, for digital space, and the key element like chips, and for our defense, we can have cooperations. We have allies.
On devrait reconstruire l'Europe. Et naturellement, le président Macron, c'est celui qui est le guide pour ce processus de renouvellement.
We have to be much more independent at a continental level.
Si nous étions amenés à changer notre organisation en Europe, parce qu'elle sera à refonder après la guerre, c'est évident, le référendum, pour moi, sera l'option retenue.
Durant les 10 minutes de l'interview accordée à CNN, combien de fois le président de la France a-t-il employé le mot « France » ?
We were based on a model, and Germany more than France because we have nuclear power, but we are in perfect solidarity.
Une seule fois.
Il ne faut pas avoir peur.